Perhaps Needfire is a fitting title for Blood of My Blood's sexiest episode to date, but in this case, it alludes to the custom of lighting a friction fire to fend off illness and calamity. Every year, the Needfire is constructed and burned at the Beltane celebration, where Henry expects to see Julia and where Brian and Ellen plan to meet in this week's episode. To avoid the turmoil they are likely to cause together, the two star-crossed couples could definitely use a war between them. Julia's pregnant tummy at Leathers is getting bigger every hour. She inquires as to whether Brian will face consequences for going back to the castle without her when he arrives to collect her from her quarters and go with her to Beltane.
When you return without me, will you be punished?
Aye.
As they try to depart in the wee hours of the morning, Davina catches them and says that Julia cannot leave Leathers since Maishri, Simon's seer, is already on her way in the world's thinnest. The seer will visit on Beltane to foretell Julia's unborn child. When Davina tells the shop Brian that the Laird of Castle Leathers hosts readings for all of his bands, Brian assumes that Julia must be, allegedly, carrying his half-sibling. Unwilling to tell Brian the truth.
Sibling.
What? You let me to
I'm so sorry you had to find out like this.
His awful father may have placed a maid in. He still feels deceived by what he perceives to be her fossards. He feels foolish now because he believed they were pals. He therefore gives up on helping her get out of the castle, and leaves Julia to sit for the reading at Leathers. And it's quite a reading. To Simon's pleasure, Maishri asserts that the Laird's comeback is imminent. However, her forecast only becomes intriguing when Julia breaks an egg with 2 yolks into a bowl after holding the egg to her stomach. Maishri stirs the yolks and imagines 2 kids. One is a girl whose time is still to come, who has dark curls and clear blue eyes. Of course, this is supposed to be Claire, and Julia recognizes it based on the odd expression on her face. A boy of great importance, uniting clans for centuries to come, is the other. He will have a role to play when our country's destiny is at stake, the seer declares. According to Simon, this indicates that Julia is bearing his son, who will grow up to be a Scottish king. Davina doesn't jump to these conclusions. Maishri never explicitly said that this future king will be Simon's heir, as she quickly reveals to Lord Lovat. Davina tells him Julia cannot be trusted. She was already pregnant when she got to Leathers. Simon, however, is too engrossed in the sight of such a significant legacy for his family. He dismisses the housekeeper and threatens to have her killed if she ever brings up this conspiracy again. As Brian leaves for Beltane, a still heartbroken Murtagh catches up with a similarly somber Brian outside the castle walls. Brian calls his cousin a fool to try it, but Murtagh views the festival as his final chance to earn Ellen's affection beneath Malcolm Grant's nose. From you, Fraser, that's rich. Unaware that they are both after the same woman, they nevertheless decide to bike across the Highlands together. When Jocasta decides to express her thoughts, Ellen and her sister are traveling to Beltane themselves. Ellen is engaged to a wealthy, well-liked man who could genuinely intend to ravish her. On the other hand, Jocasta's marriage to the old coot John Cameron lacks romanticism, and she has been unable or unwilling to conceive. In order for visiting women to benefit from Beltane's reproductive blessings, Ellen makes it a point to lead her envious sister to the stones of Cray N.A. Dun. Ellen herself doesn't want these blessings, but if she wants to win Malcolm over during the festival, she may have to look for them. In order to avoid the implications for herself and the entire Mackenzie family, Ned cautions her from attempting to upend the betrothal. Instead, Ned's largest issue is Henry, who, while looking for Julia at the festival, remarks that the main elements of Simon's misfortune were all his own, rather than the consequence of Red Jacob Mackenzie's treachery. Simon stands accused of the kidnapping and the rape of a noblewoman, Ned claims. However, who? THJNKS for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.